So before starting on with IPFS, we first need to understand what a network actually is.
This video is brought to you by OppiPies Academy.
Okay, so now in order to build a foundation and then establish a layer of IPFS or an understanding of IPFS on top of that, we first need to understand what a network is, followed by some key aspects of networking, which we will then compare with IPFS and then understand why IPFS can serve as a better way to do decentralized networking in the future. Okay, so for now, whenever we are talking about networking, it essentially means a simple connection between two or more computers in order to share resources. So now those resources may be of any type. So you may have shared hardware like printers over a network, or you can have communication of data, or you can have communication of different files, or you can simply update your state on a server. So all of these come under networking. So now a very important aspect of networking is a protocol. So now whenever you type in a URL, you type in http:// followed by the website's name. And that HTTP word, which stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol, is essentially a protocol in a lot of different networking protocols. So first of all, let's look at what a protocol actually is. So at the very essential terms, a protocol is a set of rules which are defined for both the systems. So whenever you have a network established between two different systems, then it is a set of rules which both of the system agree on, and then you have communication taking place which follows that rule. So now over here, in order to understand the concept of protocol in a bit better way, let's define our own. Okay, so over here we have two computers, C1 and C2. And now C1 wants to send a message which is hello to C2. And to do this, we have to set a protocol. So now C2 is not always listening to what C1 is saying. So now you have to send something with which C2 will be aware that C1 is starting to say something, and then it will listen to C1. So to do that, we have established a starting message which says I am sending something, and the code of that message is 010. So whenever we are transferring anything from C1 to C2, it essentially happens by the transferring of a lot of binary bits which are having the state of 0 or 1. So whenever you have a wire, you have a switch which goes on and off, and according to that, an on corresponds to 1 and off corresponds to 0. So this thing happens millions of times every second, and that is how you have a data transferred from one end of a wire to other. So for now, we are defining 010 as I am sending something, and the rule is whenever C2 gets 010, then essentially C2 has to start listening onto that particular port for some data which is incoming. And then after we have sent 010, now that C2 is listening, we have to now transfer the entire data structure or the entire data file, and that needs to be transferred in bits as well. And after finishing the file, we have to now again send a message which is 101, and the message is I am done transferring. So now these are not any hard and fast codes which need to be followed. These are only something which we have created right now. So just for the sake of understanding what a protocol actually is, we are defining some codes. So now after that we have defined these codes, now let's look at a sample message which C1 sends to C2 according to this particular code. Okay, so the message starts with 010 and ends with 101, and in between there are a lot of other bits which are transferred. So now if C2 is not knowing which protocol is used by C1 or which set of rules is used by C1, then C2 will be confused as to where to start reading the message. Okay, so now in this particular case, C2 also has a copy of the protocol, or C2 knows the protocol. So now in this particular case, C2 looks for the first 3 bits. And as C2 can see that the first 3 bits are 0, 1, 0, then C2 knows that now C1 is sending something. And then at any point of time in the message, C2 looks for a character sequence of 0, 1, 0 or 1, 0, 1. And by looking at this sequence, it can determine whether the message has come to an end or not. So now this is a very simplistic example. In the real life, there are a lot of complicated start and end points or even some status codes. As in the real life, whenever we are using protocols like HTTP, then it is also a set of rules which is defined in order to facilitate better communication and to avoid confusion. So now in the case of HTTP, there are also a lot of different rules defined, but just like we have used two scenarios over here, which is I am sending a message and I am done sending. In real world, whenever you are using real life protocols, then there are a lot of different states which are also conveyed. As if now I am listening, now I am aware that I know that you are sending me something, I am alive, and all these are also codes which are sent through the network. So now in this particular case, we have to C2 knows that the first 3 bits and the last 3 bits are not part of the data which needs to be received. So it ignores those bits, but it also knows that due to those bits, the entire content of the message is in between of those 2 bits. So now C2 is reading the text, and then by translating the binary onto the alphanumeric characters, then it can see that C1 is trying to say hello, and now as C2 knows the message which C1 wants to send, C1 is also happy. So basically this is how the data transferring in between two computers happen, and to do this they are using a protocol. So now let's recap what a protocol actually is. Okay, so a protocol is a set of rules which are defined, and then both the parties or both the machines accept that particular rule, and then there is an action which happens in accordance to that particular rule. Okay, so with this, now that we have defined what networking is and what a protocol actually is, so now let's proceed on towards looking at some real life protocols and how do they exactly work and what are the problems with those real life protocols.